Hello everyone, Dan here, and today I am going to be changing the brakes, pads, and rotors on a 2011 Honda Odyssey EXL. These are the original, well, we bought the car used, so these are the brakes that we bought the car with. The rotors are kind of warped, got a lot of shimmy in the steering wheel every time we hit the brakes, so we're going to go ahead and replace them. So as you can see, I'm going to get this up on jack stands. I've already broken the lug nuts loose, so I'm going to get it jacked up and we'll get the wheels off and we'll get going from there. Alright, we've got it securely fastened on jack stands on both sides. As you can see, it's on the frame, not anywhere that's gonna hurt it. See if I can get the light on here. Here we go. On both sides. And also we have the jack in a good position set up on the frame as well as a safety precaution. So let's get the wheels off and see what we're doing next. Okay. As I said, these are already broken loose. Plug nuts off. Safe place. Tire tool when they get stuck. Of course, currently working on the driver's side right now. Everything you'll see is exact same for the passenger side. My good buddy Chris Fix. With this awesome idea, we'll put the tire up underneath the car. Additional means of safety. God forbid something happens. So, now, let's see here. As you can see, we've got significant wear. You can't tell, but there's a lip right here and a small lip right up here. Other than that, the rotors are in real good condition as far as rust. There's hardly any. The axle bolt looks good. It's nice and tight. Calipers are good. We're going to start by undoing this bolt right here. That's going to allow us to fold the caliper down. Be able to take the brake pads right out, and then from that point we will be coming around and undoing this bolt right here. Let me turn my screen around so I can see what I'm pointing at. This bolt right here, I'm sorry, wrong bolt. This bolt right here, which goes into the caliper bracket, and then this bolt right here, which will also go into the caliper bracket, and then we'll be able to remove the caliper completely. So let's get started on that. Okay, so this top bolt right here is a 14 millimeter. So we'll go ahead and get that broken loose. Loosey. Remember, you're lefty loosey, righty tighty. Oh, I forgot to tell you. While your car's on jack stands, make sure Need a breaker bar, so I don't have one. But I make my own by putting this rod on the end of my ratchet here. It usually provides me with the lift that I need to break them loose. There we go. Alright. You can go out and buy a breaker bar. That'll work too. Or if you have air tools, that'll work. Oh, I just got that bolt. Okay, I've never removed these brakes before on this particular car, so we're all going to learn together. Right now, I sprayed some penetrating oil, WD-40, on some of these bolts because I don't know that they've ever been removed. But right now, I'm removing this connection for this brake line so that we don't put stress on it later. We'll put this back on when we put the tire back together. So apparently, and I hadn't encountered this before, you can see here there's a bolt here and a bolt there, and I didn't realize that, so I was just wasting my time turning the wrench. So now I'm going to try to break that loose with the appropriate equipment and see if I can make some progress here. Thanks for learning with me, or laughing at me, because I don't know what I'm doing. I am a DIY mechanic, so this is all, as you can tell, very amateur. Okay, so that is the correct way. So if nothing else, this will serve as fun and mirth for you. There we go. Now we got it. Holy cow. Alright. See if I can see. Alright, good. You can see that. So, got this bolt out. This was a 3/4 inch wrench. It may have been a metric, but a 3/4 inch fit that inner bolt right here just fine. There's the bolt. Looks like it's in good condition. So now fold these out. Pull that out a little bit. And take the brake pads out. There's one. There's two. Alright, as you can see, they're worn pretty thin. This is the braking surface, and they're worn pretty thin because that's the metal. Though they're not horrible, but still. Alright, now what we'll do is we'll just put this bolt back in just enough to hold it together. Just hand tighten that. And I'm going to break the other one loose because we're going to pull these inner pins out and re-grease them, clean them off and re-grease them, so to make sure that they go in and out, because they're supposed to go in and out like this. See how the caliper moves in and out? And actually this is pretty good, so that's good to see. So let me find this bolt here. Right there. Woo. Okay. Perfect. Actually, I loosened the bolt. That's good. Alright, so let's just loosen. So I'm going to do that, and now we're going to work on these big bolts. They are 19s, and while you can do it with a ratchet, I'm going to use a air ratchet for speed and ease. That way, this job won't hopefully take as long. So it's a 19 mil, both bolts are. So let's start with the bottom one. My compressor is not big enough. Okay, I'm still having trouble breaking that nut, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the actual caliper off and get some of this out of the way. And maybe once the caliper is off, I can break the nut on that frame loose and continue on with this job. I guess it's not really mission critical. Well, it is mission critical because I can't get the rotor off because we're changing the rotor too. That's actually the main problem. So let's see if this will help. If you don't own a breaker bar, I highly recommend you invest in one. Alright, well, here's our caliper. Where's my bungee? Here it is. So I'm just going to tie it up here in the suspension for now, or hang it up here in the suspension just to get it out of the way. And that way, see, there's no tension on the brake line, which we don't want to do. Alright, so this is the bolt I'm having trouble with. Maybe now a little more clearance, I can get in there and get that broken. So we'll be back and see if that works. Miracle of all miracles. My impact finally broke the nut loose. Trying to make this family friendly because I am, but in the process I ended up breaking my 3/4 inch ratchet. So I guess I'll be going and getting that replaced. Luckily they're insured for life still, so I will just be hit that. I planned. So we're going to switch back to the air ratchet because I'm irritated having to deal with all this. Alright, there goes one. Hold on to it when you undo the other one. And boom! There we go. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay. So that's amazing because neither of these had Loctite on them. Alright, which we will be putting on the blue Loctite when we put them back in. So here's your brake caliper frame. It has the brake hardware in there, as well as, let's see, does the caliper have one in the middle? No, the caliper does not. So, next step, this has got a bolt in it, so we're going to undo the bolt to get the rotor off. Hopefully this goes a lot more smoothly. Alright, that's what I thought. Turn that to drill. There we go. Sometimes if you have trouble getting this little bolt out, it's a little Phillips head, or you break it, you just have to drill it out. Not all cars have those on them, but Honda seems to like to put them on there for some reason. There we go. It's a little rust welded on there, but a couple nice bangs and boom, we're off. Alright, so there's our wheel hub. Again, a little rust, but not bad. Everything actually looks really good on it. Good to hear, so we're just going to clean it up a little bit and put the new hardware on. Alright, I'm going to show the camera where it is. This is your clamp, and as you saw me previously, I had removed the bolt and lubed it up. Well, I'm going to find out that my brake kit actually comes with new boots. So, put these in order so you don't forget which one's which. We're going to just remove the old boot, like that. Get our bag of new boots. These brakes by Evolution. All four of these boots are the same. So as you see with the old boot, there's the old one, there's the new one. Aside from a dirty issue, they're the same size. I guess you can't see that from that angle, but so we'll put this in there. Check and make sure there's no obstructions down in there on either one. Alright, put the boot back in. Use your fingers best you can. There we go, it should just pop right in with a little effort. There we go. Spin it around. Boom. There you go. That's all nice and good. And then you can put your, since we already greased your bolt, let's put that right back in. There we go. Push it all the way down and it will automatically attach, and then push it a few times to get that lube in that boot, and that, boom, that's beautiful, nice and stiff. And then you just do the same thing with the other side. And I forgot to mention, you probably could clean this off a little bit. What you're doing is you're forcing this lip right here to catch up in here. There's a little lip right in here. I'm going to just force that in there. Let's see if I can show you this one. I'll show you what I'm doing. It's kind of hard with one hand, but I'll give it a shot. Alright, so taking this side, and basically we're just forcing it in. Don't worry about kinking it. See, boom, there it is. Nice and in, there's no kinks. Nothing like that. And we just take our bolt, put it back in. Should just right in, there we go. See the lip right here? This lip, when you push it down, this top of this boot right here will pop right over this with no effort. Just push, see that? Pop right on there. Perfect. Now just test it. That's what you want. Nice smooth movement, and it actually bounces back a lot faster than the other one. Beautiful. Now, sorry for that horrible motion there. Next thing, this kit also came with brake hardware. So we're going to pop out the old hardware, which is right here. There, and again, just using a flathead screwdriver. It just pops in there. There you go, and if you have trouble remembering what goes where, just lay it just like that. And I'd already sprayed this part down with brake cleaner, but since because I wasn't sure if this kit included new brake hardware. I couldn't remember because I bought this stuff a while ago. This is just the first chance I've had to install it. So I'm just cleaning these off with a little brake cleaner there. So the new ones go in just like you saw. Open them up. All four of them should be the same. So these clips are actually better. So, and then they will just snap right in, just like they came out. Go. Snap right in. See here, snap. Unless they just want to be difficult. Shouldn't be side specific, it should be the same for both sides. But we'll humor it. Okay, there we go. That one went mostly in. I think it's just bent. That's why I'm having trouble with it. And this one go in the same way. Just snap right in. Boom, like that. Okay. So, now, that's where your brake pads will sit in here like this. And that's what holds your brake pad in. And we're going to actually put some anti-seize on there. You should always replace your brake hardware. And we'll put some anti-seize on these. That'll help. Actually, the anti-seize is going on our this thingy here, the hub. Sorry, I had a brain freeze there for a minute. I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, I was actually correct. I'm going to do the anti-seize on here too. Just a little bit on the surface where the brake pad's gonna rub. That helps with noise. Just a little bit, both top and bottom. You see, these have the added thing of a spring right here. That will be extra helpful in keeping your brake pads stable and in there, because part of the reason why brakes squeak is because they're loose. And it's actually easier to do this while they're off, so you know, we don't need a lot. Just enough to give it a good coating. Alright, there we go. Next, I'm going to move the camera, so give me a minute. Okay, next we're going to compress those brake cylinders. So, I don't have a brake cylinder press. I do have the old brake pad. Some people use this as an opportunity to bleed the brake line a little bit, which I recommend, especially if you don't know how old your brake fluid is. However, I don't have a capacity to do that, so I'm not. But what I am doing is removing the cap from the brake reservoir, which will help so that it doesn't build up pressure. And all I'm using is the old brake pad and a C-clamp. You can, like I said, if you do brakes on a regular basis, you can get a brake, a tool that will help more permanently with this. It's probably a good idea. I should get one myself, but for now, this will work just as well. Just make sure you're not hitting any of the brake line connections. You want to stay on the caliper itself. And then once you get it on there, start turning. Hold on to it so you don't lose it. And this is actually compressing it one at a time, so I'm gonna and you want to compress these because they you won't be able to get the new brake pads in because they're set for the old brake pads size. So you want to do that so you can put your new brake pads in. This has 2 pistons, so I'm having to do it like this. If you had a actual brake tool, you'd only have to do this once. So there's another good argument for buying a tool if you do this on a regular basis. Alright, till you feel a little resistance. That one's all the way in. And we'll go ahead and do this one real quick. Get that one all the way in too. You can do it without the brake pad, but this keeps you from damaging the cylinder if you just use the old brake pad. I mean, you're only going to get rid of the old brake pad anyway, so there we go. Now they're both compressed in. I always play nice with my brake pads, the old ones, just in case something goes wrong. I bought the new ones were wrong or whatever. That way, if I have to go back to the store to buy different brake pads, I haven't damaged the old ones. So let's move on to putting the new brake pads on. Alright, that's all wiped down, so it's going to give it a quick blast with brake cleaner. Do the connections also. Nice and clean. And we'll get the whole line in there as well. Get it all nice and clean. I got a box underneath here catching all this fluid so it's not killing my garage. It's raining outside, which is why we're doing this inside. Alright, while that dries, we're going to look at the caliper and see if it needs any extra cleaning. We'll just use the rag on that because I don't want to spray brake cleaner up in here and get it up in here inside these pistons. Give them a good wipe down. Get all that garbage off there. You can actually spray brake cleaner on your rag. That way you can control where the brake cleaner goes. Just do that. Get this all cleaned up. And you want to do this both sides of the car. That is, the passenger side will be exactly the same. So there's no need for me to show you both sides. Look at that. It's yucky. That's what we want to get off. As the brake dust will also add to noisy brakes. So Get it cleaned off as best you can. You can do this before you compress the piston rings. That way you'll be able to clean, because you don't want a piston ring to go back up in there and get all dirty and bring that grit and grime all up into your cylinders there. That's just bad juju. Alright. Next we're going to compress these piston rings. I'll make sure you all can see what I'm doing there. Alright, we're going to compress these piston rings. And how we're going to do that is, you could have a brake first before we press those. Get these out. You just come right out. Try to be real careful. You might have to break this a little loose from here. Try twisting them a little bit. Try to break those boots. Get a flathead screwdriver. See if we can get it loose that way. You want to be very careful you don't break the boot. Just get it so we can get this around here very easily. So we can, there we go. Now I've twisted it. It's twisting inside the boot, which means it should come right out. There we go. Alright, you want to clean this. It's in good condition. But we'll go ahead and clean it off. And we will re-grease it. You're looking for damage, any kind of wear on here, or anything like that, gouges or anything like that. If you have this is damaged significantly, you want to get rid of it and replace it. This looks good. Now let me over here get my the right grease. I got some dielectric tune-up grease. You can use silicone also. Anything as long as it's not an oil base. This is silicone based, so I'm going to use it on here. I just want to put it on good. Get it all lubed up. There we go. That'll help it. And we'll just put it right back in. There we go. Just push it all the way down. And look at that. Nice and smooth. Move it around a little bit just to get that spread out. And there you go. And do the same thing with the other side. Alright. Alright, we're back at the hub again. And we're going to put some anti-seize on the hub so that when we put the rotor back on, it won't, sorry about my foot there, won't get rust welded. So as you see, I already started. You just want to put it a very light coating, not on the lug threads, but all around the hub there. This way we'll won't have the trouble next time we do the brakes, and hopefully these rotors will last a long time and we won't have to replace them, because I am normally a fan of getting rotors turned for as many times as you can before they tell you there's too much material gone. But since these were warped, I'm just going to go ahead and replace them. It'll be easier that way to replace them. They're not expensive anymore. I bought drilled and slotted rotors because I like them. I think with the ceramic pads they help cool them. They're not necessary. A lot of people argue differently on it. You get what you want for your car and whatever makes you feel comfortable. Alright. It's all done right there. Next step is the rotor. Actually, before we do that, we're going to remount our bracket here. So, take our bracket. We'll have to, actually no, we got to put the rotor on first, silly. Okay. The rotor, as you can see, this one is actually labeled front driver's side. So that's the one we're going to put on this side, since that's what we're doing. So it comes with a thin coating of oil. So we are going to spray it with brake cleaner to get that thin coating off. There we go. Not necessary. I was going to try to take that sticker off, but it's not necessary. Alright, don't forget about the other side. Because the last thing you want to do is put oil where you want friction. In this case, you want friction. Friction's good. Friction stops us. That's what creates the stopping. Alright, you want to do this right before you're ready to put it on, so that you don't have the oil done. Let's put this on. There we go. And if you want to put the screw back in, you can. You just need to line the little hole right here, one of these holes, with this hole right there. So one of these holes with that hole. We'll go ahead, since we didn't have to break the screw, we'll go ahead and put the screw back in. Doesn't hurt. Alright. There we go. And now you don't have to put that lug nut on to hold it. But if you didn't have that screw, you certainly could instead put a lug nut on to hold this on. Alright, now next thing we're going to do is put our brake clamp back on. Set that right there. It's actually sitting on the dust shield right now. It's the only thing that's holding it up. And I'm doing that because I want to get my Loctite. Again, we're going to use the blue, not the red. The red is permanent. The blue is not permanent. It's temporary. It's for the purpose of preventing vibration, or helping. Anytime you want to put it on stuff that's moving. Whoop, just a dab will do you. I went a little more than a dab, but it's alright. Where's my other one? Here it is. So just a dab on the threads. There we go. Perfect. It doesn't matter which bolt goes where. Actually, these are the wrong bolts. It always helps if you put on the right bolts. These are actually the those are the caliper bolts, mount bolts. Let's put them on. Let's put it on the right bolts here. These big ones are the bracket mount bolts. So we'll put some Loctite on that one, and Loctite on that one, same reason. I apologize for that. And thank you for screaming at the screen going, that's the wrong bolt! Okay. Let's move that up and down, back and forth till you get it started. Okay, it's in. Alright, and just hand tightening them. So you can see what I'm doing. Just hand tightening that one, and then hand tighten this one. Which that's all I can tighten it. So now we'll get the ratchet back out and snug them down. Or in this case, I'll use the tell you about the compressor. Now these, according to the internet, you want to go right, tight. Alright, require 79.6 foot-pounds of torque. I don't have a 0.6 on my torque wrench, so I'm just going to do 79. There we go. That was easy. There we go. 79 foot-pounds each. Got them really close. They did move a little bit, just so you know, so I didn't over-tighten them. Alright. Now, it's time to put our brake pads in. Here's a new brake pads. We put a little bit of ACs on here too. Some kits like this one actually came with a compound to put on there, but you can use that if you want, or just the anti-seize on the metal plate here. That'll help again. Vibration. Just a real thin coating. Make sure you don't get it on the metal, the brake surface. So you got this on there like that. And so these just snap in. This one actually has a wear indicator. So as you see, as the brake pad wears, this metal piece is sticking out a little farther than this. And when that starts hitting the rotor, it will squeak. And then you'll know you need new brakes. You'll snap these in. Maybe a little difficult because this brake hardware is new. Woo! I don't want to do that. The harder the better. That means let's see see, I think the wear indicator one goes up front here. Make sure they snap in all the way, and again, because this brake hardware is new, it's going to be a little difficult, which is a good thing, but it doesn't mean it makes it any funner or more fun. Pardon my poor English in that particular sentence. Putting it in the wrong way. Let's find out. There we go. Alright. Sorry about that again, folks. Now, this one hopefully will go in the same way. Alright, I've never used those kind of brake stuff before, the new ones of these, so had to figure it out, but I did. So there you go, they're in, nice and snug, and they are flush with the rotor, so now we can put the brake caliper back on. And that should just be a simple case of flipping it over, putting it right in, like so. You gotta push these little bolts in there so that the caliper itself can get by. Boom! Oops. First you want to make sure you haven't twisted the brake line like I have. So make sure you untwist it so that it's not twisted. And do it again. Go. Alright. Boom. There we are. Now, all I gotta do is put these bolts on. I've already put Loctite on them. So we'll just hand tighten them. I might have to move it up or down a little bit just to get it to line up. There we go. Now that one in. Just get it started. And we'll do the same thing with the other one. Alright. So, just hand tighten those. As soon as I find my ratchet. 13. 14. Oh, that's right, I broke it. Sometimes you might have to wiggle it around a little bit just to get it to, there we go, tighten by hand. There we go. There we go. Alright. Now, let me get, I believe those are 14s. So, 14-inch socket here. And I'll snug them down a little bit. Well, of course, it does help to put it on righty-tighty. Here we get our 19mm wrench again. Alright, just going to back that off a little bit because we're going to torque them down. So just wanted to snug them up. So I didn't have to use the torque wrench as much. Take care of your torque wrench, that's for sure. Okay, now we'll get our torque wrench, and according to the internet, it should be 20 foot-pounds. Well, let me verify that. Alright, we are down to 20. Get my socket on here. Get these all torqued. Hopefully my torque wrench will fit in here. Forgot I got a wrench on there. Alright, that's one. Alright, there's two. Alright, so those are properly torqued. Everything's good to go. Now, if you remember, the proper way to store your, don't want to leave a lot of tension on your wrench, so this one recommends storing it at 10 foot-pounds, so that's what I've set it at. Actually, before I do that, I've got to set it for 79. I'm sorry, not 79. Let's see, 94 foot-pounds. That's what the owner's manual recommends for the lug nuts. So it's right there, 94 pounds, so that's what we'll be doing the lug nuts down to. So I'll set it for that, because we're almost to that point. So, set this up to 94. For those of you who don't know, I don't know if you can see this. This is the numbers, and so it's 90 and then 4, 5, 6. So we're not at 90 yet. Alright, everything's attached. As you can see, this moves, but not as much because the brake pads are bigger. This is perfectly fine. The last thing we need to do is reattach the brake line to this mount right here. So we'll make sure that the bolt is cleaned off. And we'll put a little Loctite on it. It's right here. A little Loctite. And it just goes right in. This was our, forget that, 13 millimeter, I believe. So I'm going to have to use an open-ended wrench since I can. Oh, I guess it wasn't 13 inch millimeter. 12. Alright, it was 12. So I'll just tighten that up. I don't know the torque specs for it. I'm going to go, I think it's 20 Well, I think it's less than that, but I think once you get some resistance, just a little half turn after that, you should be fine. I don't think you need to torque spec that one out. And that's it. I'll move everything out of the way. Including you. Here we go. Get a tire back up. Okay. Line up your holes as best you can, and if you want, sit down and use your feet. Rotate the tire to get it back on. There we go. And I'll do it the left. Over there. Alright, sorry about the pause there. I had to find the right size socket. Well, I'm not going to tighten them down yet because the wheel's still off the ground because I have the other side to do, but this is according to the manual, as we said, it gets torqued down to 94 foot-pounds, so that's what I was showing you before my phone rang. So let's see, there's 90, no, we're not at 90 yet. That's 90, right there, and then we turn this to 4, right in the center line, 94 foot-pounds, and then when we put the wheel down on the ground and can torque it down, we'll torque it down perfectly to the manufacturer recommendation. I hope you found this helpful, and also got a good laugh out of the problems I've had with it. And I'm just to show you that even though you have problems, you can solve them. And even though I didn't show some of my solutions, I told you what they were. And you see, this job took a little longer than I planned. Part of it's because I'm filming it, but part of it's because I've never changed these brakes on this particular vehicle before. I have a Dodge, and it's a little easier on that. I've changed those before, but never changed these. So it was a new experience, and you got to experience the newness with me. So hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, like the video, and if things go well and I have time to do this more often, I might have a channel, and if so, subscribe to the channel. Alright folks, one thing I forgot was this kit came with these springs. The old brake pads had them in, and they go into this hole here, and you just bend them in that hole there. Whoops. And then there's the same thing down here. Just bend it into the hole there. Whoopsie, I just knocked the thing off. Alright, let's try this again. Oops, it's got that upside down, silly me. There we go. there we go. For those of you that were really paying attention, I accidentally left my bungee cord on the coil spring. So you take that out before you put your wheel back on. Alright, we'll see you next time. Alright, we've done both sides, got the wheels back on both sides. It's off the jack stands and on the ground now, so we can tighten up the lug nuts. As you can see, that's set at 94 foot-pounds, or pound-feet actually, of torque, as per the owner's manual. So you want to tighten it in the star pattern. I've snugged it down a little bit so it won't move. Of course, I need the right ratchet. Hold on. Right socket, I mean. There we go. Because this is a 7/8 socket. Alright. Alright, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you just do the same thing on the other side and you're done. You can pat yourself on the back. You did an awesome job. Hopefully you won't have as much trouble as I did next time you do yours. Take care.